let's go to Sunday. Well, we've just watched it now, guys, which is actually really nice for back pain.
Have your moment. Yeah, go on. Well, would you say? Would you let you just have your monologue, have your time, like 5 minutes. Go say whatever you have to say. Just go for it.
All right, cool. So Philly wins game 1 against Washington, 125 to 118. Well, I mean, for the neutral, this was a really entertaining game. Wizards stuck around. They were up 1 at the half, and Embiid was out in foul trouble. He had 3 fouls. Was it a foul, the third one? Probably not. But they managed to limit him, and Tobias had 28 points at the half, which is ridiculous because the rest of our team had 33 points, and we were down 1. Within the second half, we managed to actually provide some defense. You know, Simmons did a great job on Bill. Bill's obviously going to get his numbers. He ended up with 33, but he really made it difficult for him. And a lot of the buckets that Bill was getting was towards the end of the shot clock, when he was putting pressure and driving towards the rim. Because as you know, he's not really the biggest threat from outside. But the one player for Washington, who really surprised me, he normally plays at 100%, was Russ. He wasn't as ferocious as what I've seen him play before. He almost like took a backseat. Ish Smith played really well for them in the first half, gave them good minutes, especially like putting pressure on transition offense, getting easy buckets. I love Gafford. I think Gafford's great. Yeah, he had loads of got in foul trouble, but he was 6 for 6. And he's such a great finisher around the rim and really suits their team, like I said. From Philly, Ben Simmons' stat line, you know, you look at it, 6, 15 and 15. 15 and 15 is absolutely ridiculous, right? You can't be going 0 for 6 from the line. It might even get to a point where we go further down to the playoffs and they're going to be playing Hacker Simmons. And to be honest,
it started already a little bit.
Yeah, that might be it. That might be a good strategy because, like Ed said, when he was on the fast break, Westbrook hacked him straight away, and it was a great foul. George Hill played really well for us off the bench, a couple of easy looks. But yeah, Jojo, 30 points in 30 minutes. And what I was really impressed by him was that when it came down to the clutch, there was this one play where he had the 3-pointer and it was wide open. He thought about it and he thought, okay, let me kick it out. Let me get to my post. Double team arrives, takes his time, pulls up baseline, money. And I was like, that's what we need. We need composure. Because from what I've seen from Brett Brown, I mean, he panicked all the time when we were in the playoffs. And that's the one thing I'd say the improvement with Doc is that composure and leading teams and knowing what to do when the game's tight. Yeah.
One little small thing I saw notes I liked quite a bit. I noticed a couple of times was when. So I'm talking about Seth Curry and Danny Green were on the floor together. When one of them, I think there was a possession where I can't remember which one it was. One of them was on the wing, and then they had a defender closing out for them 3-point. But then because the other one was right next to him on the wing, and they were like right next to each other, he saw it coming. Like cool, it then became an open 3, and I really like when they're next to each other on the 3-point line, and as soon as they're closed out, the other one is open, especially if there's ball movement going on. That's really cool. The fact that when they're on the floor together and they're right next to each other on the court, it just means that one of them is bound to get an open 3 one way or another. And I like that little detail when I was watching the game.
Yeah, man. I think for Philly, you just got to watch out with the bench production. That's a massive negative for us. When Embiid was off, we were like -10. With him on the court, it's +7. And I remember when we had Butler, we had that really good starting 5. The plus minus without him on the bench was absolutely ridiculous because we actually had the best net rating lineup when we had Jimmy Butler, and that's why that team was so good. But yeah, Seth's got to continue to be aggressive. Tobias had a great game. He sort of fizzled out towards the end because he just looked gas, and maybe it was an early tip. I don't know what you saw, George.
Yeah, like you said, I think the key thing which I'll take from what you said was how Philadelphia definitely had that composure, and you could see it straight away from the tip. from the beginning of the game where you kind of started to make that first pull away, where Wizards were still trying to find ground, and then they started, okay, let's start shooting threes and see what we can get. But I felt that Philly just kept sticking to the usual plays and how to get the ball into the bucket. I mean, they did try and start shooting the threes, but then it was the point where they're like, okay, this isn't working. Let's go back inside. And Embiid started doing his thing. And like he said, when it came to like the double teams, Embiid on court with the double teams, he was handling it well. Like there was a point where he was inside, 3 players came over, and he still scored the bucket and he made the 3-point play. Like
that was ridiculous. That was
like,
absolutely ridiculous, man.
Yeah, and like you said, with the timing on the shot when I can't remember who came out to help him out on when MB got double teamed through the mid-range jumper, and he still got it in on that. He just timed it so well, and just his knowledge of that and what to do in those situations, like his confidence with it. It's just like he's doing what he's got to do, which was absolutely great. From the Wizards side, like you said, I felt Russ was a bit tame. He did try and turn it back on a bit. It was nice to see him kind of assist a lot more. I can't remember what was his total assists in that.
14. He had 14.
14
he had 6
assists,
turnovers.
exactly. Yeah. Again, that came out like you saw it in the beginning, like in that first quarter where he threw off that first pass to the referee. Like, so, yeah.
I will say this, George. This is a fun fact. Beal and Westbrook combined had more turnovers than the whole of the Sixers team.
Jeez. Yeah, that just goes to show.
Alex mentioned it. Jordan opened the door for it. I'm just gonna walk into it a little bit. We should address the obvious in terms of Russell Westbrook and turnovers and his end of game execution. Now, there's games when you watch and then you watch a game, then you look at the box score after, and there's some things that like surprise you. For example, when you mentioned Ben Simmons had 15 assists, I was like, shit, didn't feel like he had 15 assists, but maybe that was just me being harsh. And then Westbrook, I felt like he may have had like 10 assists. But 6 is the number because 3 or 4 of them just stood out automatically. You can remember exactly 4 of those assists, 4 of those turnovers. Whereas there's games I'd watch and like I'll see a box score and say like 5 turnovers. I'm like, I don't remember any of them. But with the Westbrook ones, because of the points in the game where they came, where he was being a bit rash and when you're, I don't know, man, I was going to get into somewhere which isn't correct of me to go to, but some of those turnovers at the end were so costly for the Wizards, especially when the game was just so close. But I think Russ really, I don't know what to say, man. I don't know.
Listen, man, they had a chance to win the game. Like you said, we didn't play well down the stretch, and they definitely could have stolen that game. Our defense wasn't great at times, and they managed to keep it close. But like you said, the costly turnovers, him stepping out of bounds, forcing the issue, that's something that Russ does a lot. The last point I just say on this game is like, if Ben Simmons has a ridiculous putback dunk, let's be a bit more hype about it. Commentators like, oh, Ben Simmons, good putback. I want to hear that. Get the Charlotte Hornets guy in. Get him in.
Oh, me. Oh, man.
LaMelo. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I do want to speak on Burton's, but before we get on to that, let's talk about that step out of bounds by Russell Westbrook. What I didn't get with that, when he was losing his balance, there was 2, if you rewind it, there was 2 guys there. I can't remember, one of them even started running over towards him.
It's a bad pass, but what is he doing?
It was a bad pass. It was a bad pass.
Just throw it back to him.
He tried to be Superman on that one. I think he could have just passed that back and got the ball back straight away. Just bing, boom, 1-2, bada bing, bada boom.
Well, I tell you what, guys, we got the Suns Lakers right now.
Burton's. Jordan's going to talk about Burton's.
Oh yeah, of course.
Burton's. That's the one thing. Like, I feel Sixers did a really good job at closing him down, because during the first half, he was just finding his spots and making those threes. But then when you got to the second half, it was a completely different story. He would try to get to his spots, and then you'll see him just chuck it up, and towards the end, it just looked bad. Like, it was nowhere even close. So I feel...
Seth Curry was on him.
Stress at that.
Which was quite weird. Yeah.
Yeah, Seth. Yeah. But yeah, so Seth did really well with that. Like you could tell that he started to panic with those shots, and it just looked like he was just starting to chuck them up and hope for the best. But yeah.
And I think part of that was just on Washington in general, because he's their most reliable 3-point shooter. I don't know who else is really reliable from three for Washington. It's like Bertans and Bismillah. That's what it felt. That's what it's like for them from 3-point range.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, we've got Suns Lakers now. We've also got Knicks Hawks, which is going to be a great matchup. That's on at midnight, so maybe it's a bit too late. But I think we'll definitely talk about that. Playoff basketball back in MSG. That's going to be great. Yeah. Well, go on, Ed.
So George,
let's. Do we want to trade here?
What's with the ASMR? What's going on here? Like.
The thing is that I just want a bit more value in it. But would you give me the Nets? I'll give you Portland and Memphis. I'll give you Portland and Memphis for the Nets if you want.
The whole roster. No, it's okay. I'm happy in the East, man.
Okay.
I'd rather have 2 teams in the East than 2 teams.
Blazers Knicks is a very fair trade if you guys are thinking about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
If this trade goes through, I like it because it means I've got a team from every quadrant. So I've got bang, 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 bang. I've got 2 from the east sides of the East and 2 from each sides of the West. So
you like the symmetry?
Yeah. It fits my OCD head. I'm like, okay, it works nicely. It works nicely.
Yeah.
So you don't want Portland? You don't want Portland for the Knicks?
We'll see, man. Of course, man. Of course, I like Portland. It's tempting. I'm gonna have to look over it. I'm gonna need time, man. I'm not gonna rush into this.
The offer expires in 48 hours.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take that time.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to take the trade, but anyway, sorry, Alex.
Ed, also, do you want to do a trade Nuggets for Blazers? No, I'm just bummed. It's not too late. Okay. My team's all going. Let's go, Luca. Anyway, that wraps up for the 6th man on this brief intro. We're all gonna go off and watch the Suns Lakers with the Chris Paul experiment. Let's see how they do. But thank you guys for jumping on, and we'll see you real soon.
Peace, y'all.
Ciao.